The topic of dimorphism and prior extinction has been another controversial idea added to the game. Another one to the list. Anyway, this has been added as a test of the idea, being decided to just two dinosaurs, Stego and Torvo. And the way it's shown is by making male Torvo and Stego 20% stronger and tankier at the cost of speed, agility, and amber gain. While females have just the base damage, are faster, more agile, have more stamina, and more amber gain. Also, they made it so that male solitary dinos couldn't pack with other males, but females can pack with other females and males. However, a lot of the community has shown its dislike to the implementation of this, not the idea. Also, you may want to know what do I think about this mechanic. Eh, it's another of those good idea bad execution, but we will talk about that later. Overall, I like the concept, but it can be done better. Anyways, I've seen how this affects the ecosystem, and I'm going to talk about how to make this a better feature if it is going to stay. That can be used by the majority of the roster, give it better utility, and also clear some misconceptions about this topic. Because, oh boy, there's a lot of misconceptions that even today, in 2023, in a dinosaur game community, some still believe. Let's get right into it, shall we? Also, before we start, saying that we're studying the spoopy season, Sebastian has decided to give itself a little bit of oomph for these seasons. Check him out. Yeah, the vampire bird Viragosli gave us, who is also, well, if anyone knows what the little ghostly thingy over there is disguised at, put it in the comments. The only dinosaurs that have this gender dimorphism have shown that this system is kinda flawed and poorly implemented. Well, only Stego does it well. The male is strong, but the female can defend herself more efficiently because of her better turning radius and stamina, while still having very good damage and health. This makes Stego very balanced in between both genders, still keeping its sheer strengths, but still changing them enough for the type of player you are. Either an aggressive player prone to lose your dino so you don't really need that much amber gain, or a more defensive player that wants to keep your dino alive for that sweet amber. But also having them similar enough so you can still do what you're supposed to do as Stego. Torvo, on the other hand, is flawed. Mel Torvo just dominates the entire eastern part of the map. It's a tank, does huge damage, and overall is a beast. The females are extremely rare to see. You are almost guaranteed to see at least 60% of all Torvos in a server to be male. The male problem is that the current system, they didn't think about it very well for Torvo. Some herbivores having this current system is actually pretty good. Of course, there's some improvement to do, but overall, this system can work for some herbivores like social sauropods, ceratopsians, and others. However, with carnivores is another story. You see, being faster and more agile than a monster that can be accessed by just clicking one button isn't appealing. 20% strength at the cost of speed is a massive buff, not a trade-off. Especially because this strength is more centralized in taking down slow prey like Stego, Iggy, Diplo, and Dinok. Speed doesn't matter at all. And notice how I didn't even mention the amber gains. That's because, well, people don't use carnivores to grind. People use carnivores to fight. Look at this. Turbo costs 400,000 amber, and female turbo gives 130 per minute. It gives 300,000 and it gives 150 per minute. You could say, oh, it's just 20 more amber, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. If you play 2 hours every day for a week, as Torvo, you get 109,200 amber. For Iggy, you get 126,000 amber. And not to mention if you have boosts. I will use the gains in the wiki, which they don't have the mastery boost. It says the max for Turbo is 234 amber per minute. So in this time you'll get 196,560, almost 200k. For Iggy, it's 270 amber per minute, so you'll get 226,800. And that's using my average daily time in game. For you grinders, these numbers will change a lot depending on time using, masteries, and bugs in the formula. Oh, wait, I'm using female turbo. Well, male will get My point is, why would you use a carnivore? Something that has to move constantly, entering a lot of fights, and the probability of losing it is very high? When herbivores can just sit down in a secluded area, make a territory so that plants can grow faster and just basically AFK. Not that many things will try to kill you because it's hard to win a fight against the herbivore, moreover in its territory. They focused in the wrong things when they added this. Of course, I understand that this is just a concept, but they could make it better. So, how can we make it better? Well, first of all, I want to make something very clear. What I'm about to say may be very difficult and time and resource consuming, as well as maybe gaining angry looks from the dev team. But I believe this is a good way to have gender dimorphism without just neutering one gender. First, we'll make different systems in between herbivores and carnivores, as well as having variation in between species and some things that all dinos share with each other because of gender. Let's start with herbivores. For some social herbivores, there shouldn't be that many, if any, physical differences, except for the obvious, of course, like color, some, shapes in crest or horns. But the changes should be more subtle, like with ornithopods, maybe just some slight difference in calls. Imagine that you hear a parrot broadcasting and you know it's a male or a female because of the pitch and sound of the call. However, social sauropods and ceratopsians should have a different system in which male becomes semi-social or satellites once they enter their subadult stage and adult stage. This is more for Diplo or any social sauropod for that matter, just like elephants, where herds are matriarchal and males wander off in search of territory of their own. Of course, this would mean making males bigger and stronger, because they wouldn't have the security of a herd to defend them. This could also work for social ceratopsians. I mean, it's hard enough to hunt one of them, not to mention trying to kill one in a herd. Social structure found in some other animals of similar niches can be used, like making social sauropods like elephants, making ceratopsians more similar to bovines, making Dryosaurs similar to a freaking groundhog, etc. For carnivores, there is a problem. I've seen many people arguing that females are actually bigger in theropods, but that's false, at least for the majority of theropod families. It's hard to determine an animal's gender solely from their bones. For animals that don't live today, that is. Some animals present skeletal dimorphism that can be determined by just looking at them. The majority, if not all felines, have dimorphism that can be seen in their bone structure. But the reason we know this is because they live today. Now, for extinct dinosaurs, it's hard. There has been some time already since scientists have said that dinosaur bones weren't very sexually dimorphic, even with some highly ornamented dinos like pterosaurs, ceratopsians, and others. But that doesn't mean that we don't have any female specimens of theropods, because we have an actual female Tyrannosaurus. And no, it's not Sue, it's Bob. I'm not joking. It's an extensive topic, but to summarize, Bob wasn't larger than other specimens, but rather had medullary tissue, This medullary tissue is something that female birds have when they are about to lay eggs. So Bob was pregnant when she died. I recommend looking at Dino Facts' short talking about her. That's how I knew about Bob, and while researching for my Lealinosaurus video, I found that we also have a female Tenontosaurus. Also found out because of medullary tissue. Anyways, my point is it's difficult to make theropods have dimorphism without making it that extreme, but I can try. For solitary hunters, they shouldn't make that much difference, for they don't need it. If Cerato was social, some could argue to make females bigger just to make it truly a hyena, but Cerato just doesn't need that much things. Allo, on the other hand, could benefit from that, like making males just 5 to 10% stronger and a little bulkier than females at the cost of speed and maybe stamina, whilst making females keep their base stats except for agility, so they are more agile. Also restricting the numbers of males to 2 per pride, because it is the lion of the Jurassic. This will make the pride dynamic in Allo more, well, dynamic. People could bring males to hunt the Diplos and maybe young Stegos, while females can hunt faster and more agile dinos like Kentro, Cintao, and Hippodraco. I don't know about Accio or Thero. I know Thero had dimorphism before its rework, but having it back could make it like an anti-Allo, where females are the ones stronger. Arbo has it right now, but I don't know if the version 2 will have the dimorphism, so it all depends. I think that the majority of carnivores don't really need dimorphism other than just incentivizing some pack dynamics. Now, onto some tweaks. Obviously, the majority of females should get a buff when they are jungling, up to subadult, where they become stronger to help them defend their offspring. However, notice how I say majority. That's because I would like to see Gali, Citipati, Gigantoraptor, and maybe even Dinocarus have it so that males are the ones caring for their young, just to simulate the behavior in ratites, where males are the ones that brood and care for their young. Also, Carno being able to pack with any gender to be like cheetahs, making coalitions between males to tackle big prey. Of course, Pteranodon was very dimorphic, so having females more agile in flight will just make sense. But they are fishes, so maybe, I don't know if for a strength buff for males, why will they need it? I mean, they will just hunt fish. If the dimorphism in Torvo will stay, don't make it that high. If anything, just boost Torvo's strength and decrease the male multiplier. That's all you need. If they are making Torvo an Apex, just buff its strength overall and decrease the multiplier that male receives. Carnivores shouldn't have those nerf amber games. Or maybe yes, I don't know. I mean, no one plays them for amber. Herbivores can have them because, well, they are the grinders, but that's just for preference. If you want it, then you want it. If not, well, not. Even though it's a controversial topic, dimorphism should be approached in more subtle ways than just slightly change the way players use some dinos, without just having a single gender dominate. The idea has a lot of potential for dynamic playstyles, social structures, and other things for players that want to play more defensively or more offensively. Make plans for tackling player protecting of junglings, all of that survival stuff. But that's just me. If you have any suggestions, any problems, or just want the game to not have dimorphism, it's fair, so put it in the comments. Have a good one, and cuidado con la llorona.